Hey everyone, this is just a video where I wanted to show you a little review of the Svante Djarve small right hook. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I'm pretty sure it's close enough. Someone can correct me though. Svante Djarve small right hook knife. So these are just a couple scoops that I've made with it. It is a smaller hook, smaller radius, which is nice because you can really get in there and make smaller things. This is a leather sheath. I got it secondhand, but after looking on a couple websites, I saw a similar sheath. It's just leather you wrap around the blade. And what I figured I could do is I could compare it to a couple other hook knives, because before I bought hook knives, or when I only had one, I didn't have much to compare stuff to, and even once I did have other ones, there's not much to compare it to. But so here's several other hook knives. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus here. And this is the Svante Djarve small right hook. So this is the Flexcut. I think, let's say called. It's just called Flexcut. Right-handed hook knife. It's the KN26, and this is one I had very early on, and I use it. It's definitely got its uses where it's useful, but it's not. You can tell it just doesn't have the same amount of scooping and depth as other ones. But just as something to compare it to, you can see the width of the blade. The small right hook has just a very thin blade, which is actually really good for when you're scooping. Just making tight turns, small bowls like this, really does that with no problem. Whereas if I was going with the Mora 162, or this is the old Mora 164, it would be pretty difficult to get really tight turns without a little bit of chatter going on. I have a couple other videos about these if you're curious about why I have tape on the handle and whatnot, so I'm not going to talk too much, but just I think these are great entry-level ones, the Moras. I would say if you're going to go cheap, go with Mora, and then go up from there. So this was kind of my upgrade from Moras. It was smaller than I expected, I'm not going to lie, but I still use my Moras a lot. So I would say none of these has really become my favorite, as much as I definitely rotate through them for various reasons. So anyway, small width of blade, which is nice for turning. It came really sharp, so I'm sure that when you buy one, it's really sharp. A little bit of stropping to keep it sharp, very helpful. Let's see, what else is worth comparing? I don't know, the handles. Handles pretty similar to a Mora handle, maybe a little skinnier. I personally, I'm a fan of the smaller handles. I don't like the really long, bulky handles. I think a little bit longer and a little bigger wouldn't have hurt, but that's fine. I love the texture. Very good to hold. So yeah, that's about what I'd say in comparison. So I'll put these away so I don't bump them on each other. Let's see. So yeah. What else is worth talking about here? I guess I figured I'd show a little bit of carving action. So one thing that I've really enjoyed doing with this is making smaller scoops, because it just has the ability to really rip in and make nice tight curves. And because it does have like the full turnaround, it's not shallow. It's pretty complete. You can really go forward, so you can get some forward cutting action. You can get more cutting on the heel if you want. And I've honestly, when it comes to making spoons and scoops, I'm not a big pattern follower. I kind of follow the wood, kind of let the knives do a lot of the planning. But you could see how this small hook, you can take out a lot very quick. And especially if you're looking for going for deeper, smaller bowls of some sort, this is definitely a great one to choose. Another thing that I really enjoy using it for is on spoon bowls or scoop bowls. I love the textured look. In my opinion, if you're making something hand carved, it might as well look hand carved. So this is just an example of some sort of scoop I made, and you can see the textured finish on there. And I made that textured finish, I'm pretty sure, with this knife. And that's just by, you know, I'm not going to go over it because it's finished already, and it's burnished, which helps a lot. But just keeping the texture in, and instead of using something really shallow to take off all the ridges, and instead of making it super pronounced ridges, you kind of go for the shallower side of the knife. And yeah, I don't know, I just really like that finish. That's if I could have every spoon or scoop I made come out with that good a finish, I'd go for it. Here's a few other things I made using this knife. The bigger one, probably could get away with using a different hook knife for this size, but I know for sure for smaller ones like this size, definitely use this Svante Djarve small hook. But yeah, so you can kind of see how, just while even talking and not paying too close of attention, I've already carved a decent sized bowl. There's no reason why I couldn't stop here and go the rest of the scoop. If you watch my other video on how to carve a tiny scoop, then you'll probably understand why this is not roughed out very well. A lot of my scoops just come from chunks of wood where I'm like, might as well not throw it out. Just like whack whack with the axe, and that's close enough. More of just something for fun than an actual something I go for. But yeah, so that's the small right hook by Svante Djarve. It's really held up its edge. I could say that the amount of times I actually need to sharpen this, not many times. Not that you want to let it get dull, but keeps an edge really well. Even with all the tight turning you do, like that really puts a lot of leverage on the bevel on the blade. I have no complaints. Like I said, if you're afraid of getting one that's too small, this is definitely small. There's no doubt about that. That is definitely small. It's about the same, right at the same curve as the top of my finger. Definitely small, but even though it was smaller than I expected, I instantly just really appreciated it and have used it ever since. It's never really, I've never found its limit, with the exception of, once again, if you want to avoid textured looks like this, then you probably want a shallower hook knife. But yeah, great knife. If you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below. If you want to watch my other videos or subscribe, do that. I learned a lot from YouTube when I started out carving, so I'm just trying to make some videos to help other people out that are asking the same questions I was, or helping out in any way I can. So yeah, like, subscribe, comment if you have anything, and that's all.